Hey everyone, welcome back to K-Korner, the channel where we dive into the wild world of entitled people and their unbelievable stories. Hope you enjoy it, and without further ado, let's go. So a couple of weeks ago I was cycling to a driving lesson. We meet at the testing center because then we get to do more practice on the test route. The road to the testing center has the bike lane on the pavement. There are signs all down the road indicating this as well as bikes painted on the ground, just to really emphasize that the pavement is also a bike lane. So I'm cycling along, not fast as there are teenagers walking around going to and from the college further up. If they are in my way, a quick ding of my bell, and they move over without issue. I get near the test center, and there is a lady with 3 dogs. As I've always been taught, I stop because animals are unpredictable, and it wasn't too wide of a path, so I didn't want to risk them jumping out in front of my wheel. At this point, I should have gotten off my bike and walked past, but as the lady was still walking, I thought it would be okay to just stop and let her walk past. How wrong that was. She had no control of these dogs and let them walk wherever they liked. One of these dogs decided that they wanted to walk the other side of my bike that the lady and other dogs were walking, so now I'm stuck. This lady decides this is the perfect time to start arguing with me. Lady, you would do better on the road. Me, oh no, it's okay. This is the cycle lane. Lady, no, it's pedestrian priority. Me, yes, it's also cycle lane. Lady, pedestrians have priority. Me, yes, and that's why I stopped. Lady, you need to get on the road. Me, I am on the bloody cycle path. Bearing in mind she's making no move to get her dog out of my way, so I'm essentially trapped. Lady, this is pedestrians' priority. Me, and I stopped. What more do you effing want? Finally, her dog had moved away enough for me to cycle off. Lady, get on the road. This is pedestrians only. Me, shut up, you twat. Probably shouldn't have stopped down to her level, but I was leaving anyway. Lady, grow up. And I cycled off. Managed to still make my lesson on time, but had to take 5 miles to calm down because I was shaking with anger adrenaline. Honestly, some people just want to go out of their way to shout at people, and unfortunately I had been put in her firing line. I think she had the dogs trained to stop people so she can shout at them, LOL. I had pre-typed this just ranting, then realized I can post it anonymously here because I'm really struggling and would like some outside advice. Human to human, it feels like I'm gaslighting myself. They've supported me and provided everything I need materially. I am very grateful for that. I will never complain about them giving me food, shelter, clothes, etc. I'm not seeking to be coddled or get sympathy. I just need to know if it really is that bad or if I'm tripping. Emotionally manipulative and guilt-tripping parents will be their own demise. Finally dropping that mask you have with them, making them look at themselves and see the torment I had to internalize over the years, is better than sitting back and letting them continue their behavior. Continuing to deal with immense shame, guilt, sadness, and anger because you know how they are and you think there's no point in opening up to them or telling them what they do wrong because they always do the same shit and continue to blame you for everything. Note this. When I finally released all my years of internalized emotions on them and started texting them very knowledgeable shit about themselves and how they treated me, my mom tried to control and ruin my relationship with my girlfriend when we first got together. We've been together for 1 year. And 3 months now, still going strong. She didn't ruin anything. When I started texting paragraph after paragraph, my mom thought something wasn't right with my mental health and told my dad and brother she thought something was wrong with me again. She was surprised how I could speak so knowledgeably because I barely interact with them anymore. They started texting me asking if everything was okay, saying they were worried about me. My mom has made many comments before this situation like, "You seem like you need to get back on your medication. You're being irritable," when clearly that was the correct response to some messed up comment she made. I'm sick of that. They threw what they do for me as parents in my face. Blame, shifted, manipulated, lied. And my mom said she had no acknowledgement of ever treating me like that, trying to ruin our relationship or saying any vile shit about my girlfriend. She even thought it couldn't possibly be me writing these exceptional paragraphs and that girlfriend was controlling me and making me send all that. Our texting went on for like 3 days. 3 days of her not taking accountability, lying, and trying to manipulate me by making me feel bad. She had the nerve to say it feels like I'm being abused. Girl, stop, huh? I'm still confused about that one. It's honestly sickening and baffling knowing people can think and say stuff like that. I've been so detached from them since I was little, never knew why at the time, but this makes that detachment 100x worse, and I feel like that's a good thing for me. Even though the outcome wasn't what I wanted, I feel free, released, not pent up, and most importantly, more like I can finally be myself. I'm way more comfortable in who I am and my identity now at 19. Could you imagine that? Damn, just hoping it's not temporary. Just putting this out there in hopes that someone else going through the same thing or similar will see and maybe help them a little. Now I just gotta move out. She can't see how what she says to people affects them drastically and takes zero responsibility or acknowledgement of doing so, passing it off as you don't know me, I'm a good person. I have a good heart. I love everybody, etc. She blames everything on me, saying things like, we do everything for you, you're going to treat us like that when we sacrifice so much for you, etc. Yeah, they signed up for that when they decided to have a child, so it's messed up to throw that in my face. Then, she loves playing the victim card. You're abusing me. It feels like you are abusing me. We feel like we can't say anything right. We are always walking on eggshells around you. It's exhausting. She knows damn well I'm not abusing her in any way, shape, or form. That's disrespectful to people who actually endure real abuse? Do you want to hurt us? Is that your goal? You're destroying the family, you're destroying our marriage, etc. This was constant when I was going through self-harm stuff too. I didn't do anything wrong. All I did was speak up for myself for once because it's been years, about the shit she does and how I'm not okay with it. I internalize everything. That's why it took years. I'm just sick of their shit and I don't know what to do. After all that expressing, I got met with blame, shifting, and lying. The reason I never open up to her is that ever since I was little, she always blamed me and made it seem like something entirely different. So yeah, I'd rather internalize than talk to her. That's a way better option than getting met with guilt, tripping, and manipulation. What else could I do but internalize? Doing that messed my head up badly. There are many more examples of things she and my dad would say, but I think he's brainwashed by her. She makes me feel so insane. I even feel like I'm exaggerating and making a big deal out of nothing, being too sensitive while writing all this. There's so much more context, but screw all that. I've typed enough. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Not to mention, they are closeted racist and homophobic. Someone suggested I post this story over here. Enjoy. When our first child was born, my ex forced me to quit my job. When our second child was 2, I found out about his affair. By then, he was extremely verbally, emotionally, and sometimes physically abusive. When he abused our firstborn, I put him out. That was in 2012. I couldn't afford daycare to work and had no family support. He refused to give me any money to take care of the kids, saying the courts haven't ordered me to give you a dime. He lied to the bank and had my accounts frozen, and even assaulted me when I filed for default in the divorce. The judge finally ordered him to pay child and spousal support 6 months after I kicked him out. It was $25.62 a month. He refused to pay it until the garnishment kicked in, and by then he was 6 behind in support. I used that to get permission to move away. I remarried a year after the divorce. I checked the court docs, and there was a little box that said spousal support stopped upon remarriage if that box was checked. It wasn't checked, so I figured I was good. Instead of filing for his retirement, I just took that year of spousal support, 12ec, and left it alone. Spousal support was only ordered for 2 years. In 2017, he filed for sole custody of the kids out of nowhere. That was when he found out I had remarried, and he had paid spousal support to me during the first year of my marriage. I told him I took that money instead of filing for my share of his retirement. I said if he let me keep that 12ec, I wouldn't file the split as 401. He demanded that I repay the spousal support. The judge ordered me to repay it, but increased child support and deducted the repayment from that. It ended up that I got an extra $20.0 a month, and he repaid himself. He dropped his bid for custody in exchange for 2 extra weeks in summer. I pursued the retirement account split. He refused to cooperate and dragged it out for 4 years. It was so bad they sanctioned him, and he had to pay me $600 a month for a year, in addition to child support. They also charged him with contempt. In Jan 2021, he proposed to his girlfriend. In May of 2021, I finally got the disbursement from his 401. I won't say how much it was, but it was about 4 times the amount of spousal support overpayment. I had no idea it would be that much. I had thought it would be around 12x, which is why I thought keeping that year of spousal and not filing for his retirement account was a fair trade. Had he not tried to take the kids from me, I never would file to split the account. Play stupid games. Win stupid prizes. His fiancée emailed me recently and told me it is my fault he won't marry her because I cleaned out his retirement account. She said I shouldn't have stolen his money. I told her that I gave him the option to let me keep that year of spousal support or take it back and I could file for his retirement. He chose to have me file for his retirement. I told her that if he really wanted to marry her and protect his assets, they could get a prenup so he wouldn't have to worry about it. She said she shouldn't have to sign a prenup because I robbed him. I never asked to be financially dependent on him. He clearly indicated he wanted a court order to take care of a kid, so I got him one. I tried to be fair and take the lesser amount by taking spousal support and not filing for his retirement.
He wouldn't let me.
In summary, my ex refused to pay me until support orders dropped, refused to pay until they revoked his license, tried to get me in trouble for accepting spousal support overpayment, and in the end, it cost him a lot of money out of his 401k. Enjoying the stories yet? If you do, please subscribe, like, and comment. Despite the somewhat stretched out and dramatically stylized storytelling in regards to malicious, entitled demons and battle-worn hero baristas, this is in fact a real story. The events that played out and the people mentioned were exactly as described, and the dialogue is as accurate as I could make it from my admittedly poor memory. It may not be word for word, but at very least gives the gist of what was said. I may have edited some of the worst language out, as this did take place in Australia. If you don't enjoy stylized stories, you've been forewarned and are certainly not obligated to read any further. There's a Starbucks conveniently located next to my 28F psychologist's office, and over the past few months I've gotten into the habit of grabbing some sugar-laden concoction before my appointments. Fellow Aussies, please don't come for me. I'm perfectly aware that 400 calories worth of flavored syrups and whipped cream does not good coffee make. But my $9 caffeinated milkshakes are a rare treat that gives me a little boost and help get me through a rough session of self-improvement. Yesterday morning, as I traveled towards my regularly scheduled reality check, I had a rare moment of forethought and decided to save myself from the looming lunch rush and order online. I'm in luck with the timing, and 10 minutes later I step through the door just as the barista is putting the finishing touches on my pumpkin spice cold brew. She calls my name and I happily bounce straight over, but as I reach for my precious bean juice, I find an immaculately manicured hand resting gently on my forearm. The woman it belongs to is probably in her mid-30s and oozes polished professionalism in her neatly pressed linen pantsuit, flawless makeup, and slicked, back-high pony. The elegant gold jewelry that drips from her wrists and neck and the designer logo that gleams from her calfskin purse hint at wealth and power. The only resemblances she holds to a typical Karen are her nose, which remains pointed directly in the air, and the air of confident superiority that makes her seem to tower over everyone in the room, though in reality she's a few inches shorter than me. For the sake of the story, let's call her Beelzebub, B for short, the devil in disguise. The smile she gives me seems almost genuine, and when she speaks, the tone is sweet and condescending, like she's gently correcting an ignorant child. E, that doesn't belong to you. I frown in confusion, not understanding the problem. At first, I think perhaps it's a case of mistaken identity. I glance at the cup that clearly has my name printed neatly across the top. OP. Oh, I'm sorry. Is your name also my name? I'm pretty sure this is my drink, though. What did you order? E. No, it's not. It's much longer name that does not sound remotely similar to mine. And I ordered a venti soy matcha latte, extra hot, with 2 pumps of vanilla. OP, now very confused. Oh, well, I'm sorry, but this is definitely not your drink then. Maybe ask the barista if it's taking a while, or just keep an eye out for something green. I again go to grab my drink and leave, but she tightens her claws around me, and her smile starts to strain. D, I didn't say it was mine. I said it's not yours. I saw you. You just walked in and grabbed the first drink you saw. You can't just take it. You need to go stand in line and order and wait like everyone else here. OP. Oh, I see the confusion. I ordered my drink through the app earlier, so it was ready when I got here. It is mine, see, I have the email right here. I wriggle out of her grasp and pull up the confirmation email to show her, which clearly states my order, that it has been paid for, and in a time it was placed, now around 12 minutes prior, and give an apologetic smile for the mix-up as I reach for my coffee. Her lip curls into a sneer as snack, she forcefully slaps my hand away. B, no. You do not get to just waltz in here and take that. I don't care if it is your drink. That is not fair. You just got here, you can wait until the rest of us have been served. The back of my hand burns a searing red and I gape at her in pure shock, disbelieving that this complete stranger has just smacked me over this nonsense. There are at least 8 other people already standing around waiting for their drinks, and another dozen lined up ready to order. Does she really expect me to stand and wait for all these people to be served when my drink is already sitting there, ready to go? When my collecting it and being on my merry way impacts no one beyond getting me out of their way, simply to appease some demented notion of fair. Yeah, no. I make eye contact with a weary barista, SE for Starbucks employee, whose stiff customer service smile belies the ghosts of 1,000 such battles that line her face and haunt her dead eyes. With a sigh of irritation, she makes her way over to see what commotion the two of us dare cause her in the midst of the noon rush. OP to B. Ow, what the heck? Don't touch me. Are you crazy? OP. Is there a problem here, ladies? OP. Yes. I was just trying to collect my drink, and this crazy bitch stopped me and slapped my hand. E. She just got here. She needs to wait. It's not fair on those of us who have actually been waiting here. She can't just walk in and grab the first drink. Tell her she needs to wait. SE, turning cold eyes on me. Miss, you need to wait in line and order your drink. You can't just grab someone else's. OP, this is my drink. As I already told this woman, I made a mobile order. It was ready around when I got here. I have the confirmation email right here and my name's on the cup. See? Grande Pumpkin Spice Cold Brew, add 1 pump of vanilla for my name. With a quick glance at my phone and the cup, the barista confirms my story and now turns to Beelzebub looking just as baffled as I am. SE, miss this, her drink, she paid for it? E, I don't care if she paid for it. I've been standing here waiting for my drink with everyone else. She needs to wait for it too. She doesn't get special treatment. SE, miss, this woman ordered her drink some time ago and it was made according to the sequence in which our system received the order. She has not received special treatment. Some orders may take more or less time, as certain things take longer to make, but we do not prioritize anyone's order over another. You are also very welcome to order through our app in future, if you'd like to avoid waiting in line. I apologize for the wait. As you can see, we're quite busy, but you cannot be stopping other customers from collecting their own items, or using physical violence in our store under any circumstance. Please step aside and let the other customers collect their drinks. Yours should be out shortly. Otherwise, I will have to ask you to leave the store. D. No. I want my drink, and I want her to wait until everyone else has their drink. Go do your job and make my matcha. She will wait. I don't care if her drink is ready. She still has to wait. OP to SA. I'm going to be late to my appointment if this crap continues. Can I just have my drink, please? And she slapped me hard enough to leave a mark on my hand. Can you call security on her or something? She's clearly mental. SE. Yeah, I think that's probably best. The eerie thing is that up until this point, Beelzebub had barely raised her voice. She wasn't screaming, just sneering down at us both from her imaginary podium and speaking with the same calmly irritated air of scolding superiority that a teacher might use on a misbehaving student. Obviously, she was in the right, and rest of us just had to learn. But as the barista placed the cup firmly into my outstretched hand, Beelzebub's once flawless face crumpled into a hideous mask of pure, unadulterated rage. Her voice still stayed below a yell, but filled with a cold, unspeakable fury as she turned, snarling towards the poor, minimum-wage employee, and began to unleash the icy wrath of hell. E. This is ridiculous. You're being ridiculous. This whole system is screwed. Clearly, the corruption runs deep. Do you know who I am? I'm not someone you want to cross, little girl. Get me your manager, now. I did nothing wrong. I paid for my drink and I am not leaving. I'm going to sit right here and drink it as I have every legal right to do. And you're not going to do a thing to stop me? As the demon rages on, I glance towards the stoic barista. She blinked heavily, and for a moment I fear she may be overcome by tears. But then I realize this seasoned warrior is merely trying to refrain from rolling her eyes. She meets my eyes and subtly gestures me towards the exit. After years on the battlefront of customer service, she can handle this alone. The watching crowd parts like the Red Sea to allow me to sneak past. As I'm nearly at the door, Beelzebub realizes that her quarry has gone astray and begins to shout after me. D, hey, where is she going? She can't just leave, someone stop her. I told you she has to wait. I don't know why this is so damn hard for you people to understand. Make that little witch come back and wait her damn turn. With a one-fingered wave, I push my way through the last few meters to the back door, just as I hear the sweet tinkle of the bell as a security guard arrives at the front door. Beelzebub's righteous tirade turns again to how she has a right to be there. She did nothing wrong. She refuses to be removed. How dare they call security? She demands they refund her and give her her matcha free and apologize to her right this instant. She punctuates her rant by slamming her hands against the counter as she speaks. The indignant squawks of entitlement turn to muffled chaos as the door closes behind me, and I make my way to a much-needed session of therapy with my cold brew securely in hand. I like to think that security guard dragged Beelzebub out of the shop kicking and screaming, although my instincts say someone so poised eventually regained her dignity and was walked out in a superior huff, probably making some comment about contacting her lawyer as she went. But as I gleefully guzzled my way through that delicious pumpkin-scented atrocity, I pictured a venti soy matcha latte, extra hot with 2 pumps of vanilla, slowly going cold on a counter several floors below, while a drearily uncaffeinated Beelzebub raged in her fancy office somewhere, and the image made each sip even sweeter. Setting the stage. Before I, 25 female, transferred to a university for college, I was at a state college for my AA. While I was there, I did several plays with a director who we will call Dr. D. She was strict but very effective and super sweet when we were not rehearsing. When COVID hit, I had to stop my degree and move back home. A few months into it, I started a job on the college campus, and my mother was taking classes. She got involved with the plays with Dr. D. I also want to note that the college allows alumni and community members to participate in the plays. Act 1, Scene 1. Dr. D was doing a play and my mother had a main role. I decided to jump in and help with costumes. Everyone in the cast was very nice, except for one, enter Chad. Chad was in his late 60s, early 70s. He had decided to pursue acting and was taking drama classes with Dr. D. He was a nightmare. He argued with Dr. D about anything under the sun. If Dr. D wanted him to give a line a certain way, he would argue back or blame the person he was with for giving their line the incorrect way. And heaven forbid you forgot your line or said the wrong line. He also snapped at me a few times over costume. If it wasn't for Dr. D, I would have made me and my mother drop out, but we stayed and were grateful when the play was over and we wouldn't have to see him again. Or so we thought. Act 1, Scene 2. A few months later, I was working in my chosen field, having finished my degree, and my mother was still active on campus. She was helping in Dr. D's new play and was in charge of costumes. However, Chad was the assistant director. According to Dr. D.A., no one else wanted to do it, and she needed the help. My mother would come home each week with horror stories of Chad. He would yell at the actors when Dr. D wasn't around, argue with Dr. D about blocking, line delivery, etc. At the same time, the main girl was never at rehearsal, and as the performance drew nearer, Dr. D panicked. Less than a week before the performance, she handed me a script and asked me to take over lead. I don't know how the girl took it. She hadn't been to rehearsal in weeks, and I never met her after. As I said, I had worked with Dr. D for at this point years and had done several plays with her, so I jumped in. How I managed to memorize and perform a 2-act play seamlessly, I have no idea, and yes, I am bragging because I'm extremely proud of myself for it, and I know I will never be able to do that again. At this point, I got to see Chad in action. Act 2, Scene 1. He constantly yelled and made snide comments. I only had a weekend and 2 days to practice, so the cast met very often. He would take over the line reading saying he did it better, and we needed to keep up with him. The day before, we had a full dress rehearsal on the stage, and the whole time he was yelling backstage at us over props we wouldn't use till Act 2, to the point that Dr. D had to stop rehearsal, walk backstage, and yell at him to shut up. When we were cleaning up, Dr. D told me to set some of the clothing on stage, which he hated and yelled at me for, but I stood my ground because Dr. D wanted it and she was in charge. He told my mother I was a disrespectful brat. My mother told him I was not. Act 2, Scene 2. The night of the play, we had 2 performances. Between the first and second show, my mother was working on our hairs in the ladies' dressing room when he stormed in screaming, "You need to be on stage, what are you doing?" No, he was not allowed in the dressing room. He was supposed to call from the door places 5, which means be in your place in 5 minutes. I jumped up and hustled towards the stage, while the girls yelled at him to get out. When I got backstage where my blouse was, I was in a tank top and the blouse stays backstage. I ran into Doctor, who joked with me and made her way to the audience. My mother joined me, and as we were walking toward the stage entrance, she was setting up my mic pack. I could see Chad at the same entrance cursing up a storm. I could hear bits and pieces and then heard my name. I was about to pass him when I heard him say, "OP is so disrespectful. Just do your job." I stopped in front of him and said, "Why are you talking crap about me?" "I'm about to go on stage." He turned and screamed, "Stay out of it." As I was passing, I said, "Just stop talking about me and focus." At this point, I was just past him and he turned and punched me in the back of my shoulder. I almost dropped to the floor, it was that hard. I straightened and turned, and in the millisecond I had to decide, do I beat the shit out of this man or yell? I chose to yell because my mother was between us. "You can't hit people, you just hit me." "I'll do it again, stay out of it." At this point he started charging me when my mother rammed him into the wall, got in his face and said, "Don't you dare touch my daughter." At this point he snapped out of it and became remorseful. He kept going. "Oh, I'm so sorry, hit me instead," over and over again. All this happened when the overhead announcements for cell phones and flash photography were going off so no one in the audience heard. We had been surrounded by the other actors and stagehands who witnessed this happen. One of the actresses grabbed my hands and helped me get on stage. I have little to no memory of that second performance. According to the stagehands and the audience, I did amazing. I have no memory, but apparently I didn't miss a line, emotion, or blocking. While I was on stage for 2 acts, and I was almost never off, this is what happened. One of the actresses told a stagehand to get dropped. D and threatened Chad with security if he did not leave. He walked off, and Dr. D met him. She forced him to leave and chewed him out. After the play, I was told if I wanted to go to campus security, I could. It was my choice. It was 11 p.m. and campus security had already gone home. Epilogue. The next morning, I went and reported Chad to campus police. I was able to give a list of witnesses who confirmed my story. Several things were revealed when they spoke to witnesses. He was body-shaming one of the actresses, telling her she needed to trim up for the role and was too bulk. He had been inappropriately touching one of the actors. The poor kid was 18 and didn't know if it was a normal theater thing. He had done sports where they smacked each other's butts. But this was different than that. He didn't know who to talk to, and it came out to the campus police. He later told us what had happened. The stagehands only worked with us for 3 days, and the whole time he bullied and berated them. He would scream in their face for the smallest stuff. Most of the stagehands were 18, 19-year-olds who were there to volunteer or for extra credit in their drama class. This next part is karma and a bit of revenge. He was expelled from the school and banned from attending any more school-related functions. As I said, the community and alumni were allowed to certain events. Dr. D and I took it one step further. She reached out to all her theater contacts, and he is banned from performing, volunteering, or assisting in anything theater-related anywhere near where we live and some. That way, history cannot repeat itself. I know I posted about situations with this friend. With this, I don't know what to do. I feel bad for my friend, and I'm worried about her. but I don't know what else to do with her compulsive lying. My friend has a tendency of telling stories, and I just assume she is dramatic. But I notice her lies started to get bigger. Her lies seemed to range from she was supposed to get a dog and that she took all the steps to get a dog just for it not to happen. Another time she claimed she had a miscarriage and then said a few days later it was just my period. She also always tells me that guys come into her work just to flirt with her and that men always approach her, ask for her number, and try to ask her out. She has also said that she feels like she's the one that got away for most men. I mean, that's a big claim to make. There's a lot of interesting lies or stories she has told me over the cost of our friendship. She's in a toxic on and off again relationship. They are a match made in hell. She has told me her boyfriend was cheating on her with a lesbian, and she made these claims for a while. Regarding cheating, she has said he was going to cheat on her during her birthday. With all the cheating, they always seem to get back together. My friend has a very traumatic and sad upbringing. Her parents are in the U.S., undocumented. Her uncle sexually abused her as a child up unfit. She was a teenager, and her family always had money problems. The majority of money my friend makes has to go to her parents. She's even dropped out of college semesters to help her parents out financially. But with all these money problems, she buys her boyfriend everything plus more. She's even spent around $2,000 on his Christmas and birthday gifts. When I told her that's not a good idea, she would tell me that I need to understand that's how she shows her love. She spends so much money on him just for him to be horrible to her in return. We have another friend that we also hang out with. She's mostly my friend since I've known her longer, and I introduced them. My other friend, I'll refer to as P, told me that my friend, I'll refer to as J, told her that she's no longer with the boyfriend. I was surprised because not once has she told me that they broke up. In shock, I told P they are still together, and she said that J also told her they are just friends, and she only joins the boyfriend and the family to go to church with them. Jay's dad stepped out on his family back in January and to move back to Mexico. It's been really hard on her, which is understandable. Jay told P that her mom, brother, and herself are moving to South Carolina if the dad doesn't come back. She never told me this. My brother once joined us for a hangout, and I expressed to him my concerns with Jay's lying about her relationship. He said he's going to find a good way to put her on the spot. During the hangout, my brother asked her in front of P, how's it going with you and your boyfriend? Things turned awkward fast when she said that they are broken up. I asked Jay a little while later, why did you lie to my brother? And she said that she felt like the relationship isn't going to last that long, so there's no need to say anything. I told her that's bullshit because no matter what this guy does, they never break up. The other night, Jay told me that she's upset with her aunt. Jay said that her aunt knows how much she loves Kupop and Kramas, so she told her daughter to get a Korean boyfriend. I think that's so weird, my fiancé, he's Korean, and I tried telling Jay that I doubt that's the case and told her. Jay then told me that her aunt is totally doing this to spite her, that she's happy with her boyfriend and she doesn't want a Korean man. I told her that I really don't believe this, plus she's making it sound like Korean men are accessories, but she followed it up by saying that she had every opportunity to be with a Korean man and chose not to. I'm completely shocked to hear the extent she's going to lie. Anytime she tells me anything, I can't seem to believe anything she says, and that's a horrible feeling. Everything that comes out her mouth feels like a lie. Either she's lying to me about the relationship and they are just friends, or she's lying to P and they are still together. I don't know, is she a compulsive liar? If you have ever been to a grocery shop in summer, you know it's chaos. This sub reminded me of a story I had from a few years back. Story, cast, IC, ignorant customer, me, a fabulous ape, M manager, W worker. So I was shopping at Asda, British Walmart basically, and I was in the frozen aisle looking for some veggies when I felt a sharp prod on my shoulder. I do a 180 and I'm met with a Karen. All the perks, haircut, face, and even a hideous purse. I see. Take me to the Coke section. Me. I don't work here. I see. You do. Look at your clothes. I will admit what I'm wearing looked a bit like the uniform from behind, but at the front, it looked nothing like it. Me. I don't work here. Leave me alone. I pulled out my phone, iPhone X, and called a taxi as I don't have my license. Karen hits my phone out of my hand. causing it to shatter because I don't have a case. Me. What the heck? I see. You don't need your phone while you're on the clock? Me. I don't work here. This caught the attention of W, who called M, who called the police. M came over and pulled Karen away from me and told her he called the police. Karen freaked out when she heard the IP word. She slaps M in the face and then kicks him. I think W was a veteran or knew karate because he pinned that Karen down easily. Police arrive and take statements as well as camera footage. They look through IC's purse and find her ID. They look up her name and she has a warrant for assault of an officer, fraud, and theft. Karen ended up getting a hefty fine and some community service hours. And I got the newest iPhone and enough money for a new gaming PC, so a win-win on my end. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating stories. Share your own experiences, opinions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for more epic tales.